Sí, señor. Sí, señor, cómo no. Por fin. We were seen. We've been seen. We've been here. And I'm so glad we're being noticed. Let's talk about these. Here I have the Air Jordan 5, more commonly known as El Grito. This is the Air Jordan 5 in celebration of Mexican Independence Day. El Grito means the scream. The war for independence started with El Grito de la Independencia, the scream for independence by Miguel Hidalgo. Miguel Hidalgo, if you didn't know, he was a priest. He declared, essentially, he led the revolution against the Spaniards. He made the yell, the yell, the scream for independence, and that's, very commonly known as El Grito. Every single year on the 15th of September, the sitting president, always rings the bell and always makes the scream, the Grito for independence. A little bit of history for that on you. And my God, man, right off the bat, Jordan really knocked it out of the park with this one. I'm originally from Mexico, grew up in Mexico all my life. Very, very proud that I am in possession of this specific Jordan. I'm a huge Jordan fan. I'm a huge Nike fan. And just being able to be, in a way, represented in the shoe and with the Jordan brand being such an iconic brand, and just being given the opportunity to showcase our culture is just amazing. It's just beautiful. And I really do think they did it justice with this specific shoe. They did not cheap out with the materials. They did not cheap out with the details. They did not cheap out with the structure. They did not cheap out with almost anything on this specific shoe. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you right here, right now, there is nothing wrong with this shoe. This is my favorite shoe of 2024. I cannot believe I have this shoe in my hand, honestly. But let's go over the details of this specific shoe. So for the box, it is in this sort of both Aztec. It combines designs from Aztec culture, indigenous culture, and as well as more of the colonial time culture that was seen, is very prevalent in Mexico City. Of course, Mexico City, Tenochtitlan was conquered by the Spaniards in 1521, which was the fall of Tenochtitlan. A lot of the Baroque, a lot of the back in the day when Spain conquered, was in charge of Mexico, a lot of those design elements from Europe were brought to Mexico and they were implemented, and you see it all across their architecture. You see it in art and in a lot of different areas. So also the lettering in the front with the Air Jordan logo. That Air Jordan logo is in mosaic style. That mosaic style is very prevalent across Mexico and a lot of major Mexican cities in their buildings. That is something that stayed during, from colonial times, and it's been very prevalent. And Mexicans kind of made an art form out of mosaic culture very, very much. It's very influential. Some influence from Northern Africa, from Morocco, that the Spaniards brought over, and it's sort of become part of Mexican culture. Now, as far as the shoe, those same elements are also prevalent here in the toe box. You also see some of those Aztec, indigenous, Mesoamerican designs that you see in a lot of the pyramids in Mexico. And then also here in the back tab, bordering the whole back panel, is that same Aztec, indigenous design. But also in the back panel, you have this Baroque sort of a colonial branches that you see in a lot of old school European art. And they just work really well. I think Jordan Brand did a great job at mixing both cultures and mixing both designs without it clashing too much. It's just amazing. The interesting part of this shoe also is on the midsole. On the right shoe, you have on the lateral side, you have this green that of course is reminiscent of the green from the Mexican flag. And in the other shoe, it's flipped. On the medial side, you have the green here, and on the lateral side, you have the red. So I kind of wish they kept it consistent across both shoes, because it does look a little weird, and it's a little, It clashes a little bit in my opinion, but I guess they were trying to follow the Mexican flag colors, from right to left, being green, white in the center, and red on the left side. Which again, I guess is okay. Mexicans do pride themselves a lot in the Mexican flag. It's very much part of the culture, and it's a very respected part of Mexican culture. So I can imagine that might have been the reasoning behind that design choice. Besides that, on the midsole, you got your classic Jordan 5 midsole. This one does have some sort of a sail coloring. It looks a little bit aged a little bit. And then the outsole, interestingly enough, they used gum soles. I'm a big fan of gum soles. I don't mind them at all. I think they work pretty well with white shoes or lighter looking shoes rather than black shoes. So I'm really, really happy that they actually went with this one. I'm not mad at it, but I still think that it works really well. It looks really, really nice with the sail color throughout the whole midsole and the outsole of the shoe. Besides that, the actual upper is probably the biggest attractive to the shoe by far. It is amazing. It is beautiful. The leather is firm but still soft. It looks very premium quality. Again, it should be. This shoe is $210 here in the States, which is rather hefty price for a Jordan 5. So I'm glad that they didn't cheap out on a lot of the materials. They look pretty high quality in it, especially with the designs that I already talked about, the Aztec, the indigenous, and both the Spanish colonial designs just work really, really well. Now, the other third color, the more interesting color, is this sort of burgundy. Now, burgundy has been used so many times across Mexican culture. It's part of, you've seen it in the Mexican soccer, football jerseys. It's a common color. Maroon has been used ever since the 1924 Olympics in a lot of sporting events, specifically for the Mexican soccer national team. It has been said that, wearing the flag colors was seen it wasn't received pretty well, because that was around the time of the Mexican Revolution, and there were some mixed feelings about who could wear the colors of the flag and whatnot. But I found a rather interesting story of the first time that maroon was used for sports teams jerseys for the Mexican teams. Maroon was the original jersey color in the 1924 Olympics, the first World Championship, and precursor to the World Cup. Mexico made their debut and were told that the jersey colors could not be the same color as the flags of their respective countries. Maroon was chosen thanks to a meeting between the president of Atlante, an executive of FMF, Jesus Salgado, and the team captain of Club America and the national team, Rafael Garza Gutierrez. So it's really nice that they also implemented some ode, a call out, a callback to sports teams, because again, sports is huge in Mexico, specifically soccer. It is our pride. It is the most famous sport in the whole country. And it is something that any single Mexican that you speak to, they will have knowledge of soccer. It is just ingrained in our culture. It is just part of our culture. And it's just amazing. Much like, football, basketball is here in the States. So they implemented that same burgundy color in the sock liner. It looks very, very nice, very, very clean. And then again, the same sort of mosaic style, art style, you see it here in the tongue with the Air Jordan logo. Overall, this shoe fits much like a Jordan 5. They are rather bulky shoes. They are rather heavy shoes, but overall they fit true to size. I haven't had any issues with them as little as I've been wearing them, because I am really holding these to wear them at a special occasion. My wedding. I'm gonna have my wedding in my home country of Mexico, so very, very excited for that here in I want to say 6 weeks. I'm kind of nervous and I'm kind of excited, very excited. So very, very excited to wear these. The only thing I do not like about the shoe is the insole. It is that cheap material, that dream cell, very, very thin, not very comfortable. So I will worry about the longevity that you can walk in this shoe, because I'm gonna be honest, Jordan 5s aren't the most comfortable shoe to walk around. They're heavy, they're bulky. So we'll have to see just how they fare when I do wear them on an upcoming trip. But overall, very excited of this shoe. I'm very happy that Jordan Brand did their job, did their oh, I forgot to mention the lace lock here. It does say Viva, which means to live. Essentially, you know, we say there's a saying in Mexico, which is Viva Mexico, you know, basically saying Mexico is great, you know, long life to Mexico. So it's a celebration of Mexico as a country. It was said commonly during the Mexican War of Independence by Miguel Hidalgo. Viva Mexico, Viva la Virgen de Guadalupe. So it's very, very ingrained in the culture of Mexico, and just, you know, it is something that you say, anybody go out to any Mexican, you say Viva Mexico, they'll say Viva Mexico, cabrones. It's just part of it. It's part of being Mexican, just that pride in the country, regardless of what you think of, you know, the politics of it, its current status, and you know, in the world. There is something that unites us all Mexicans, and that is a lot of the symbols behind that. A lot of the indigenous symbols, a lot of the colonial symbols, a lot of the culture, but specifically a lot, you know, a lot of our pride has to do with our music, our food, our people. It is just an amazing place, and I cannot wait to move back to Mexico. So, shout out to Jordan Brand for actually doing their homework with this shoe and putting in effort and doing well with this shoe. And I'm just very, very happy and blessed that I was able to cop this shoe. I think there was only like 14,000 of these made, so very limited in the grand scheme of things. So very, very, very happy. But you let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Air Jordan 5 El Grito, this specific shoe. What do you think of it? Do you like the design elements? Do you think it's a little bit more basic? You know, because it's essentially a pretty, you know, fully on white shoe. What do you think of the design differences from the other Air Jordans? You know, you don't have the netting, the famous netting that you see in Jordan 5s here on the sides. This is more of a full panel of leather covering, you know, perforated but covering where the netting would be. So there are some design elements that have changed in the shoe, but I think that the most important design elements are the back panel here with the Baroque and the indigenous designs, and here the toe box with the also indigenous Aztec Mayan designs. Beautiful, beautiful shoe. But you let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Air Jordan 5 El Grito. I love this shoe. Top shoe of 2024. Cannot believe it. Details ace. Just amazing. Shout out to Jordan Brand. But folks, I've been True Fernie. This has been True Fernie. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs down, because believe it or not, every single bit helps. Links to my socials down below. Please make sure to follow me on Threads, where I spend most of my waking hours talking about sneakers, talking about sports, talking about everything that might interest you as my viewer. Make sure to follow me also on Instagram and TikTok, where I upload more short form sneaker content and some other more personal content sort of stuff, and where your support is greatly appreciated. But folks, please take care of one another, but most importantly, take care of yourself. Celebrate where you come from. Celebrate your culture. Celebrate who you are as a person. Celebrate responsibly. Peace.